I started questioning my sexuality in middle school. I think that was the first time I can consciously remember being attracted to guys. I think at first it was like, oh, maybe I'm attracted to guys. Maybe I'm bisexual. I was like, maybe not so bisexual. And then I think by the time I was in 10th grade, I started, like, acknowledged to myself that I was gay. Um, what happened was, so I'm one of three brothers. I'm the second. Brother number three found a sex book that belonged to my parents. So it was like, like great sex at 40 or something like that. Like not something that like a young kid wants to find with their parents, but they have it. It's fine. So he kind of freaked out about it, and I sat down with him and we had a conversation. And he was like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!" And I was like, "It's okay. Let's talk about this." And then at the end of the conversation, he was like, "Alex, can I ask you a question?" I was like, "Sure." He was like, "Are you gay?" I was like, do you really want to know?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Are you sure?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yes." And then I ran upstairs and went to bed because I was not actually ready to talk about it. I was 15. I was like, I'd just figured it out to myself and like was not ready to talk about it with other people. We didn't talk about it for months. He apparently thought it was a dream. He wasn't sure if it actually happened. And then that summer, that was in February. So that summer, I was in the basement with him and my older brother, and I was sitting in a chair, and my older brother goes, "Alex, Ross tells me you're gay." And I nearly fell out of my chair. So I told my older brother, we talked about it, um, and then he was like, "Oh, just so you know, I know you're really close with mom, so I assumed you would have told her first." So I told mom. She told my dad, and we ended up talking about it later. But that was basically how I came out to them. I didn't really get anybody's initial reaction because Ross's I sort of like didn't let happen because I ran upstairs and went to bed. Gary's reaction I didn't really get because Ross told him. Although when he talked to me about it, his reaction was, "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" Um, which was like both good and bad because like on the one hand it was like he wanted to know, he wanted to be supportive, but also like didn't really recognize like the process and the difficulty of it, which was kind of frustrating. And then for my parents, again, I didn't get their initial reactions because I didn't tell them personally, but both of their responses was that they didn't want me to come out in high school. My mom said that it was because she didn't want me to be the gay kid. Like I had so many other wonderful qualities that I should be known by, like the kid who was good at Spanish. Like why be the gay kid? It was like, okay, that's fine, but don't tell anybody. So that was like, again, like both good and bad, and that like they didn't kick me out of the house, cool, but also they didn't offer any support and just told me to shut up about it. Probably from the age of 15 until maybe like 20, 21-ish, I identified as gay. Um, like pretty standard, like man who is attracted to man kind of thing. Um, and then during that time period, I like knew the word queer, but I think it really disturbed me at first. It made me uncomfortable. It emphasized difference, and I think that was something I was really uncomfortable with for a bit because I was like, oh, like if we want the same rights as everybody else, like why emphasize the way in which I'm different? Thinking about it more and talking to more people who identified as queer, I realized that that difference is actually really important, and it's not something that I wanted to erase about myself. I didn't want to pretend I was just like everybody else. For me, the difference is really an essential part of who I am. I'm not just like straight people. I am different. Like, I'm attracted to different people. I have different rights. I have different like thoughts and experiences because of the ways I interact with the world. For me, queer is also, it's a more political word. That's not just about something like marriage, but takes into account like larger issues of sexuality and justice and race and class. And also, I think it complicates my sexual desires in a way that are more accurate because I feel like gay means like I'm a man who desires other men, but really my desires are more complicated than that. Like I've been attracted, yes, I'm attracted to biological men. I've also been attracted to trans men. I've been attracted to trans women. My desires and like sexual life is more complicated than like another gay man. So I'd say those are reasons that I consider myself queer. And I want to say like, come out and everything will be fine. And sometimes, because sometimes that is the case, but sometimes it's not. So I think it's important to think about your situation and acknowledge that there is a risk in coming out, and what sort of like safety nets you have in place. Because I mean, like for me, like I said, I wasn't kicked out of my house, but I have friends who were kicked out of the house when they came out. So I think it's important to think about your situation and the potential reactions that people might have around you. Um, but for me, coming out was a really liberating process, and a painful one, but also one that like was really important in my life. So I would say, think carefully and do what feels right for you.